Let's say you want to buy a car, but you have bad credit and you don't have or you don't need a cosigner for your car loan. How do you get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner? You want to stick around till the end of today's conversation to get the answer. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sort of Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about how to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner. I'm going to give you the method you need to apply to get approved for your car loan, even if you have bad credit and no cosigner. What is a cosigner? We really need to get to the basics first. Let's just understand the concept here. A cosigner signs the loan alongside a primary borrower, aka you, and this legally makes the cosigner part of the loan agreement. This means that the cosigner is responsible for paying in the event a primary borrower, aka you, doesn't or is unable to pay. And a cosigner typically needs to have great credit, which is another reason why lenders may ask somebody with bad credit to have one. But if you want to get a car loan with no cosigner, there are a few ways you can try to get approved without one. And I'm going to give you some tips here. And these tips can help your chances of getting approved for a bad credit car loan without a cosigner. So even if you were to follow those tips though, please remember, a lender may still require you to have one cosigner in some cases because everybody has a different situation. I'm not privy to your personal situation, so I don't know the ins and outs of your financial situation, but just keep in mind that you may be asked for a cosigner. But the method I'm going to give you, if you apply it, 9 times out of 10, you will be fine getting a car loan approved, even if you have poor credit and no cosigner. And the thing here is that in today's conversation, I have 2 sections. This show has 2 sections. First, we have the preliminary planning that you need to do, and then I'm going to give you the step-by-step for loan approval. So if you really just want to get the loan approved, if you just want to get the step-by-step, I would suggest you just fast forward by 4 or 5 minutes. Then you can really get the step-by-step. If not, and I strongly recommend that you stick around because you want to understand the preliminary planning you need to go through to increase your chances of getting approved for your car loan. And this is important. Why? Because if you have poor credit, which Experian defines as scores of 500 to 600, you might receive an average rate on your car loan that is higher, whether it is for a new vehicle or an old one, by comparison to somebody who has stellar credit or good credit. So it is important to know how to mitigate the fact that you have bad credit and no cosigner, and how you can manage that scenario to get a guaranteed approval car loan. So speaking of the preliminary planning, first you need to check your credit. Very important. Now, you might be thinking, why do I need to check my credit? I already have poor credit. But guess what? Maybe your poor credit, what you think is poor, is the result of many errors. So you want to check your credit to make sure there are no errors. If there are mistakes on your credit report, you have a lot of avenues to fix that, because inaccuracies could lower your credit scores and hurt your ability to qualify for a car loan. So checking your credit can also help you set your expectations before you start looking for a car loan. And you can check your Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian credits, your Experian credit reports for free. And that's the cool thing. Once a year, by law, Congress has mandated that all citizens receive a free credit reports once a year. So you got to go to a website called annualcreditreport.com. And on that website, you can actually sign up, and you are entitled to a free credit reports once a year. And the cool thing here is that there are 3 credit bureaus, right? TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And if you plan the whole process properly, you can actually be entitled to 3 credit reports per year, right? So you get one from TransUnion, say in January, you get another one from Experian around May, and you get a third one in the fourth quarter, probably around December, and you get it from Equifax. That way you are constantly monitoring your credit report all year long. You can also have access to a free version of your credit report if you get denied in a loan application. Remember that. So step number 1 in your preliminary planning, you want to check your credit. Step number 2, you want to save for down payments. Very important. If you have no cosigner or you don't want a cosigner and you have bad credit, it's very important that you kind of stash some cash away. You want to actually solidify your financial situation, and so you can actually put some cash, aside, because that will help your odds of getting approved. First, a down payments may help you qualify for an auto loan more easily, especially if you have very low credit scores. Because without a down payment, the lender is taking on more risk because it may lose more money if you don't repay the loan, and the lender needs to repossess the car, right? Nobody wants to repo a car, whether it is the borrower or the lender. Both are losing money. Step number 3, in the preliminary planning, you need to determine how much you can afford. It's very important. This is part of what I call the basic budgeting exercise here. You want to think beyond your monthly loan payments as you figure out how much you can afford to borrow. You need to consider the cost of car ownership, right? I'm speaking here about what? Fuel, regular maintenance, auto insurance, and any parking expenses or property taxes. You need to factor those into your budget. And it may be tempting to stretch your loan terms to 6 or 7 years in exchange for a lower monthly payments, but keep in mind that a longer loan term means you could end up paying more in interest over the length of the loan, and you increase your risk of becoming upside down on your loan, which can create some challenges when it's time to sell or trade in your car because you will owe more than it's worth. Step number 4, you need to start the planning process 1 month before, and according to our research, we even suggest that you start the planning process 2 months before. If you start the car buying process about a month or 2 before, you will have ample time to figure out any problems, fix them before they become bigger. All right. So you need to figure out how much car you can afford. Very important. All right. You need to do your research. So before filling out any type of auto loan application, you should know in general what type of auto loan you want, used or new, and about how much you want to borrow for how long. And get pre-approved if you can. Potential lenders could include your credit union, bank, or an online lender. So this is very important. Don't think too far. Don't think too far. Think local. Why not? You want to decide on a car and negotiate the price. So the price for the car you want to buy shouldn't be more than what industry guys such as Nada or Kelly Blue Book say it's worth. And you also want to negotiate a trading price separately. So if you have a trading vehicle, you first want to negotiate the price the same way you would for the new car you're buying, because the dealership should not pay you any less than what an industry guide says it's worth. And you want to talk finance after all prices are set. Very important. You want to allow the dealer to put your loan application out to potential partner lenders, and you want to ask the dealer to beat the loan offer you already received. And once you do that, you can actually finish the paperwork. So I'm just giving you the planning process so you can actually think through the process 1 month before. You want to kick things off. You want to kick things off 1 month or 2 months before. This is very important. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. I'm speaking to you today about a method that would allow you to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner. So I just gave you the preliminary planning. I gave you, if you will, the lay of the land. Now I want to give you the step-by-step for loan approval. Step number 1, if you want to get approved, if you want to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner, step number one, you need to choose a more affordable vehicle. Very important. To improve your chances of approval without a cosigner, pick an affordable car, right? And here is a good rule of thumb. The car's sticker price should be at most. In other words, it should be at or below 20% of your annual pre-tax income. For example, if you're making $100,000 a year, make sure that the car's sticker price is at $20,000 or below that. Right? This is very important to think about. And so because it's important to remember that the price of a car doesn't end at its sticker. Okay, let me just come again. One thing I want you to remember here is that the price of a car does not end at its sticker price. You're also on the hook for licensing, registration fees, things like taxes, fuel, financing, depreciation, you name it, routine maintenance, surprise maintenance, right? Parking, and God forbid, fines. And then what you want to do is you want to multiply a car's sticker price by 120%, and you'll have a better idea of its true cost to you. So if you buy a car for, let's say you buy a car for 20 grand or 10 grand, let's just go with 20 grand. You can get a nice car and a nicer car. Let's say you buy a car for 20 grand. Just think that will cost you in the end about 24,000. In other words, you take 20,000, multiply by 120%, you have 24,000. So, and you have to think about whether or not you should buy new or used. So in thinking about the affordability of the vehicle you're trying to get, think if you should buy it new or used. Do you want a certified pre-owned CPO car? I mean, are they a good deal? Not really anyway, but this is another topic. And you also need to consider your current bank or credit union. I said that before. It's very important because if you go with a local bank or a credit union, you have a lot of benefits. And this is why, and this is pretty cool, especially if you already have a relationship with the bank or a credit union, right? Because there are a lot of benefits. For example, you can get lower interest rates. You have potential for better approval odds. You have lower loan minimums, and you have lower fees. And the cool thing here is that you already have a bank account with a credit union or the bank, and they know you. Even if you have bad credit, they see the financial transactions, they see the money movements in your accounts, the cash inflows and outflows, and so they know you are financially, you are okay. Even though you have made some mistakes as part of your credit history in the past, now you are solid. So you want to consider your current bank or credit union. Step number 3, folks. So step number 1, you want to choose a more affordable vehicle. Step number 2, you want to consider your current bank or credit union. Step number 3, make a bigger down payment. This is very important because a down payment reduces the amount you're asking to borrow, which certainly helps you it really helps you actually get approved faster. Putting enough money down may just be the thing to convince a lender to approve you without a cosigner. And why? Because a small down payment is typically required in the first place on a bad credit auto loan, but a larger down payment also helps you save money in the long run. So putting money down lowers your monthly payments and reduces the interest charges you pay. All right? And so there are several advantages of a bigger down payment. That's why I was telling you earlier that you need to actually save for a down payment. In the preliminary planning phase, you need to save for a down payment. So a bigger down payment helps you get approved, can shorten the loan term, lowers the monthly payments, reduces interest charges, avoids or cuts down on negative equity. And the last part is very important because cars do depreciate, and most owners end up owing more on their loan that their vehicle is worth during the first few years. So this is called having negative equity or being upside down. And nobody wants to be upside down literally, right? So making a down payment can help decrease or eliminate the amount of time you spend with negative equity. Step number 4, you need to find the perfect lender for you. Of course, you just don't want to go with any guaranteed car financing lender that you find. So you want to look for a specific criteria. So you want to look for a lender that specializes in working with those who have less than perfect credit. You want to look for a lender that has great customer reviews from people who are in similar financial circumstances as you. You want just try reading some online reviews to get a better idea of what people are saying about the company. You can also watch our videos, by the way. Sorry for the plug here. I just needed to. I just had to. But you can also look for a lender who will look past your past financial issues and work with what you have now by assessing your monthly income and other factors. This is why I was telling you to work, if you can, with a local bank or a credit union with which you already have an established a relationship, right? And the perfect lender for you can also be a lender with flexible repayment terms that will work for you and low interest rates to save you money in the long term. And finding one with the lowest interest rates may take some time and research, but it's definitely possible. Step number 5, folks. Again, here we are talking about how to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner. So choose a more affordable vehicle, consider your current bank or credit union, make a bigger down payment, find the perfect lender for you. That's number 4. And number 5, I want you to consider online lenders. Some online lenders and lending platforms specialize in car loans for people with bad credit. And they may also allow you to apply for pre-qualification directly on their websites. And the cool thing here is that if you are pre-qualified, you'll be able to see the estimated loan rate and terms you may qualify for. Just keep in mind that pre-qualification is not a guarantee you will be approved for the loan or the estimated loan terms. So let me just give you a few, basically we have a few lenders. They're great for people who have bad credit and don't need a cosigner. So we have New Roads here, New Roads. And this is great for interest rate discounts. The pros here, you have no down payments required, no application fees, and they will consider people with shaky credit or past bankruptcy. The cons, you have late fees for missed payments. You cannot apply in person, and it's not available in every state. And then you have Carvana. So Carvana is great for one-stop shopping. So you can check if you are pre-qualified without affecting your credit score. This is one good pro. The pre-qualification is good for 45 days, and they consider applicants with all types of credit. The cons, it's available only for in-stock Carvana cars, and you got to have minimum annual income of $4,000 required. What about road loans? This is the third loan that we wanted to talk to you about. Road loans is great for people who have filed bankruptcy. So in general, bankruptcies in your credit history can affect your ability to get approved for an auto loan. But road loans consider applicants who have filed for bankruptcy in the past as long as the bankruptcy has been discharged. This is very important. All right, so there are no obligations, there are no application fees. So that's pretty good. So you want to consider online lenders. And when it comes to online lenders, those 3 are really good. New Roads, Carvana, and Road Loans. Keep those names in mind. And one thing I also want to say here is that when it comes to online lenders, you also have the ability to get funded pretty fast compared to a traditional bank loan that takes forever, ever and ever, right? We're speaking here about weeks. You might actually get funded. You might get your loan funded within 24 or 48 hours if you have the right application. If everything checks off, they will fund you as soon as possible. So that's pretty cool. Keep that in mind. And step number 6, work with a special finance dealership. And this is important. Why? Because most lenders, like big time banks and credit unions, automatically turn down borrowers with bad credit. So getting approved without a cosigner is even less likely. However, there's something called, you have a subset of lenders called special finance dealerships. Those are actually dealerships that focus on subprime borrowers, and those lenders put less of an emphasis on your credit score. So these lenders will rely on other factors like your income, your residence, and employment history to give you the ability to move forward with the financing process. And those lenders have loan programs in place specifically designed with borrowers. They have designed those programs specifically for borrowers with bad credit, making it more realistic to get approved without a cosigner. And today there are more dealers with special finance departments than ever before. And this is great news for bad credit borrowers who may not be able to get approved for an auto loan by traditional lenders because of their poor credit score. So what you want to do is when you go to your lender, you want to ask them. You want to basically ask them if they have a special finance department, because those departments in dealerships work specifically with subprime lenders or bad credit lenders. Okay. And so what are the documents that are sometimes required, not sometimes, generally required by subprime lenders based on our analysis? They actually ask 4 types of documents. So they might ask income requirements and work history. So they want to make sure that you have money coming in every month or every week or every 2 weeks, and that you have a solid work history, either you're full-time or part-time. In other words, money is coming in and you have a low debt to income ratio, right? Your DTI is kind of low. And they might require a down payment. So the subprime lenders might ask you to pitch in. You want to have skin. They want you to have skin in the game. So they might ask for 10% or 15% or 5%, depends on the lender and your situation, of 10% in the down payments. Okay, so you want, again, this is why you need to save for a down payment. And the third criterion, they might ask you for a proof of phone, residence, and identity. So here you might need your driver's license. Will be good for that. They want to make sure you have a phone, you have a social security number, right? Because they will do a hard pull. They want to make sure that you are legit. And they also might ask for personal references. So after you have submitted all the required documents and the subprime lender determines that you are able to take on a car loan, they're likely to require a list of around 5 to 8 personal references. And so those references can be friends, family members, or coworkers, nearly anyone you know that you feel comfortable asking. And your list of personal references needs to include their complete contact information, including their name, home, and work phone numbers and addresses. And their only stipulation is that references cannot share your current home address. Step number 7, folks. Again, here we're having a conversation about how to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner. Step number 7, you want to consider a buy here, pay here dealership. What is that? If you can't get approved for an auto loan anywhere else and you need a car, a buy here, pay here dealership could be an option. But please consider this option a last resort, because this no credit check dealerships offer their own loans to people with bad credit, and their interest rates tend to be much higher than those offered by banks and other lenders. Okay, so what are those really? So buy here, pay here dealerships not only sell cars, but effectively act as the bank too. And they do so by providing in-house financing, typically for buyers with bad credit. And interest rates can be higher than the one you would find at other lending institutions. And customers make car payments directly to the dealership. And they are different from traditional dealerships that request financing from prospective lenders, with customers generally making payments to a third party. So the BHPH, the buy here, pay here dealerships, they're not concerned with how your credit score, with how your credit history looks, or what your credit score is, or if you even have one in the first place. For this reason, you typically are not required to have a cosigner to boost your credit in order to get financed. Instead, they will base their approval on your income. So what you make compared to your monthly bills determine how much of a loan you can get. Okay, so the BPH options has pros and cons. So what are the pros? Bad credit accepted, no or little money down, and the process is very simple. Buying a car and getting financing at the same time and making payments to the dealership where the car was purchased is straightforward. But of course, there are cons. There are drawbacks. You have higher interest rates. You have bigger risk of borrowing more than the vehicle is worth. Loans may not help build credit because timely payments on an auto loan may help improve your credit score, but buy here, pay here dealerships might not report your payments to one or more of the major credit bureaus. Okay, here I'm referring to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So even if you are keeping good payments habits, your credit report may not see the benefits. Another drawback is that vehicle tracking devices may be installed. So due to the risk involved in lending to people with poor credit, some dealers will install a device to track the car or prevent it from starting in order to repossess the vehicle if a customer misses a payment. And the last drawback is that your car choice is limited to used vehicles and what's available on the lot at that time. Step number 8, and this is very important. Last but not the least, folks, you want to wait and improve your credit first. This could be a good strategy too. If you don't qualify for a good loan, or the loans that you find require you to have a cosigner, why not be patient? Yeah, it won't kill you. For some, their only option for buying a car with bad credit and no cosigner is to wait. Take some time to work on improving your credit before applying for a car loan to give you a better chance of an approval. You can work on establishing a strong payment history with a credit card or two. If you don't have one, a secured credit card is often easier to qualify for, though they require a deposit to open. You can reduce your credit card balances, catch up on any late payments, and check your credit reports for any inaccurate information that you can dispute in order to raise your credit score as well. Right? So this is something you can think about. And one thing you have to understand is that to minimize the impact that shopping for an auto loan can have on your credit, it's always a great idea to shop for rates within the same time period. FICO scoring models count multiple credit inquiries of the same type within a 45-day period as a single inquiry. And Vantage Score counts multiple inquiries within a 14-day period as a single inquiry. So gotta really think about that. And the bottom line here is that if you wait, you will improve your chances. You might get better rates, better conditions. Having said that, it is possible to get a car loan with a credit score of 500 or less. But just keep in mind, as I've said throughout this show, that it will cost you. People with credit scores of 500 or lower, they generally pay more in interest than people with higher credit scores. That just makes sense, right? So the bottom line here, folks, is that car loans for bad credit are out there, but they can be expensive. So if you take steps to improve your credit score before car shopping, can lessen some of the financial burden. If you are unable to delay your car purchase, consider buying a lower priced but reliable used vehicle that meets your needs but requires you to borrow less. As you pay down your loan and work on improving your credit, you may be able to refinance for a better rate down the road. And if you have bad credit or no credit, a cosigner can help you get approved for an auto loan. But what if you don't have somebody who can cosign for you, or you don't want one? Then follow the steps, the 8 steps that I gave you in today's conversation. So folks, thank you so much for your attention today. I really appreciate it. And just kind of quickly recap the conversation we had today. I was explaining to you how to get a guaranteed approval car loan with bad credit and no cosigner. And I talked about the preliminary planning. So you need to check your credit, save for a down payment, determine how much you can afford, and start the planning process 1 or 2 months before. That's the preliminary planning. And then I gave you the step-by-step you need for loan approval. So first, you need to choose a more affordable vehicle. Next, you need to consider your current bank or credit union. You need to make a bigger down payment. That's the number 3. Number 4, you need to find the perfect lender for you. Number 5, you need to consider online lenders. Number 6, work with a special finance dealership. Number 7, consider a BHPH dealership. That is a buy here, pay here dealership. And step number 8, this is not really a step, it's more of a tip. Just wait and improve your credit first. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.